All right, thanks for staying with us. Taiwo Akinlami, our guest this evening, said regarding the girls smoking shisha video, we have to differentiate between when children are experimenting and when they are addicted. As children, we all experimented, and frankly speaking, I did. While growing up, I experimented a lot of things. I smoked paper, I smoked a lot of things. All right, so however, this EC story that she took yesterday that I mentioned is very troubling because we saw a young undergraduate girl and her boyfriend who were arrested for selling cookies laced with drugs to young children, young school children. Now, it's one thing to look for this drug and experiment, but a completely different ball game, being deceived into buying drugs in the guise of cookies. So how can we handle the high rise of drug use, be it experimental or subtle introduction like what we saw with the cookies, or addiction that is amongst our children today? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at WeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WeShow, or you send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I'm going to bring in Taiwo Akinlami in a minute or two. I just wanted to hear your initial thoughts on, when you saw the video, what came to your mind, and your story that you took yesterday. That was really troubling for me.
Yes. What came to my mind was my students, first things first. My students, children. Look, we as parents, we have a role to play in terms of having to educate our children where they get their foods from, where they buy their things from. And this is supposed to be a graduate who we are supposed to even look up to, that this is supposed to be someone who was responsible in the society. So what struck me was, I have to blow this alarm and let people know that it's not everywhere you see cookies, you eat
buy,
and buy.
And this shisha video. So let me come to Maury. Let me hear your initial thoughts when you saw this shisha video that went viral and young girls smoking it, and of course the story that EC took yesterday.
I'm going to say that my first thought is that it was alarming. Things like this, they disturb me because, first of all, I don't always know how to process it because, like you said, people experiment, you understand? I feel like there are people amongst those girls that were smoking the shisha that maybe were just doing it for, I don't know, fun, young things that, so it's hard to even know. Like right now in this world, you have to be you have to be in a strong frame of mind, because now it's hard to know, are these people just young or is this the wrong thing? It's hard to know what's wrong and what's right anymore
now,
because everybody's just making everything acceptable. It's tiring. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, I'm here to learn. I don't know if I'm going to if I have anything to add, because my head is just all over the place.
I get you. It's overwhelming, and especially because you have a daughter. Let me hear Tammy's initial thoughts on this.
So one word comes to mind. I'll borrow Maureen's word. Just one, alarming. That's how I would describe it, alarming.
Absolutely. All right, so Taiwo Akinlami is a social development lawyer, co-founder, Power Parenting Company, parents' rights to social protection advocate, and publisher. Taiwo Akinlami is arguably Africa's foremost child protection thinker and practitioner. Now, being the founder and the principal of the Taiwo Akinlami Academy, or Child Care Academy, Protection Academy rather, his unique philosophy and techniques on family strengthening, child protection, and related matters have been well received in over 133 countries. Now, Akinlami is also a prolific writer, poet, and a blogger, and he's joined us this evening. But before I bring Taiwo Akinlami, let me just quickly watch this clip that he put out, except from the video he put out last night or yesterday. Stay with us.
Feel that it is important that I lend my voice to the conversation going on about the viral video of certain young girls that were seen smoking shisha. People have been making comments and all of that, ranging from condemnation. All kinds of comments have been passed, concerning these children. And I think that our reaction exposes nothing but the hypocrisy of our society. The first thing I want to say is that I do not hold these young people responsible at all. These young people are a reflection of the example they see around them. Look, children are products of our examples. They are either beneficiaries of our example or they are victims of our example. Look, in this issue of children smoking, using drug, abusing substance, the truth of the matter is that children will experiment. They are not aware of the consequences of their action except we help them to see it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Taiwo Akinlami, for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I was watching myself. I was also in awe.
You're in awe.
my head was swimming.
It was swimming. But Barrister Akinlami, you raised a very pertinent position in that video, almost saying like you were blaming us adults, caregivers, parents, and all of that. Why is that so? Maybe we should start from that. Because yeah.
Okay, so let me allow you to land.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I come from, so every position that I take, I try to look for universal principles that God created to govern the affairs of this world. These principles are not negotiable. These principles are absolute. These principles don't negotiate. These principles don't accept begging or any kind of imploring. When you act in accordance with them, they favor you. When you act against them, you get the response. For example, there's a law of gravity. That law does not have a school. That law does not demand school fees. That law is constant. When you want to test it now, if you go to the topmost floor of your studio and you jump down, as you are jumping down, be begging the law of gravity and say, sorry, it's a mistake. I didn't know this what was going to happen. That law is not going to hear you, except people come to your rescue, then the person is going down. What is going to happen at the end of getting down, depending on the height and depending on where the person lands with, is either death leading to mortuary or injury leading to emergency ward. So it is from that perspective of principles that I move. Now, the truth of the matter, the principle here is that things produce after their kind. Things produce after their kind. Human beings produce after their kind. The society produces after their kind. We produce after our kind. Now, there's no child born with shisha in her mouth or in his mouth. There's no child born with drug, with attitude that is wrong, with bad attitude and all of that. Everything a child does on the surface of the earth, the child learns. Now, if a child is going to speak for the first time, the child speaks the dominant language of the environment in which the child is growing up. The truth of the matter is that who taught the child? Go to the US, you will find parents speaking Nigerian English. They are irredeemable, but their children are speaking American English, faultless, because they are born in that community. Now, it will be an error of high proportion if we think that the only thing that children learn is language. They pick everything. Children learn their fear, they learn their temperament, they learn everything. Now, science has now shown us, documentaries have shown us, research have shown us that DNA gene plays a minute part in who children become. Now, that is the whole essence of studies like epigenetics, looking beyond genetics and looking at epigenetics, looking at what is rampant, habits, attitudes that are rampant in a family from generation to generation that children imbibe. So when we understand that, we understand where I'm coming from to say that our children are either beneficiaries of our example or they are victims of our example. They learn their temperament. All these things we call sanguine, choleric, all of those things are learned. The biggest temperament in the world is environment. Our environment conforms us. Our environment determines what we do and what we do not do. That is fundamental. Until we understand that, it's going to be difficult for us to relate with our children. Now, note, there's a guy called Gandhi. You all know Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi had an issue with his son. And what happened to Gandhi was that he sent his son to take his car to the mechanic. Now, when the son took the car to the mechanic, when the mechanic finished fixing the car, Gandhi's son drove the car to see a movie. Then Gandhi had called the mechanic workshop to find out how far with the car, and they told him that the son had left, and the son did not go home. Gandhi began to trek to go and look for his son. And when he got to to somewhere. He found his son and he asked his son, "Son, where are you coming from?" Gandhi's son said he was coming from the mechanic workshop. Gandhi said, "No, I've called the mechanic. Mechanic said you have left." Then Gandhi said, the son confessed and said, "Daddy, I'm sorry. I went to see a movie." Gandhi told the son, "Be driving home. I am going to trek home, long distance." The son said, "Daddy, come into the car. Don't trek home." He said, "No, I don't hold you responsible for lying to me. I'm going to trek from here. I'm going to go home. And as I'm going home, I want to be asking myself, how me, Gandhi, raised my son to a point that my son cannot look at me face to face and tell me the truth. Why my son cannot tell me from the mechanic workshop he was going to see a movie?" That is a parent that took responsibility. The story was told of a woman who brought his son to Gandhi to say, "I want my son to stop eating sugar." Gandhi said, "Go, come back in another 1 week." When they came back in 1 week, the mother asked, "Gandhi, why did you not tell my son to stop taking sugar?" Gandhi said, "That time that you brought your son a week ago, I was still taking sugar. If I'm taking sugar, I don't have a right
somebody else
or a moral duty to tell your child. So I told you to go away so that you can come back after I've also stopped taking sugar." So our society needs to take responsibility for our product. A company, Bonvita, don't let me mention any product. A company cannot be angry at its own product. I say you should be happy at your product. If you create a manufacturing chain and you bring out this chair that I'm wearing, the manufacturers don't get angry. They are happy. They promote it. They say this is our product, very good. And if the product is bad, we should go back to the manufacturing chain and correct some things. That's why we see factory reject. If there's a factory reject, you don't fight the product. You go back to your production chain and you correct it so that you can find something better and something that is in conformity with your original intention. So that is my position. Whatever we see our children do, they learn it from us. They want children to copy for a living.
Yes.
And that's something we need to understand. And that's my position.
Fantastic. Barrister, you've practically hit the nail on the head about children copying from their parents. So, because I believe that parents they played a huge role in influencing their children. But what about the economic factor? What role does an economic factor play on the parents to influence the children?
Oh my God. You want me to go political this evening? Okay, so it is my position that the Nigerian parents are under a lot of stress.
Exactly.
The unfortunate thing is that the Nigerian parent does not define this stress, so they don't know it is stress. It's an unspoken stress. It's an unaccounted stress. It's a stress that we are here to take into consideration. And this is the problem. You see, the responsibility of raising children is a 4-dimensional responsibility. There is no nation on earth where any meaningful nation, where the responsibility of raising children, looking after them, is totally on the shoulders of the family. There's not any meaningful nation. Number 2, there's no family on earth who is powerful enough, equipped enough to bring out everything that God has deposited in children. There's no one family. You see, the greatest resources on earth is human resources. It does not finish. That is why inventions outlive the inventors. That's why families of those who have lived before are still benefiting from the intellectual property of their deceased family, their deceased patriarch or matriarch, because that is the power of human resources. Human resources is limitless. It does not finish. Now, that is the resources that there are 4 institutions that must be responsible in bringing out that resources in raising children. The first one is the family. And the duty of the family is very simple: to inculcate positive value system in children. That is the duty of the family. It is not the duty of the family to pay school fees, please. That's not the primary responsibility of the family, or to take responsibility for health care, or to take responsibility for accommodation. That is not the primary responsibility of the family. The second institution is the community. In the community, you have the church. In the community, you have the international community. In the community, you have the church. You have the mosque. In the community, you have the media. You have all of those people that are supposed to reinforce what the family is teaching. You have the school. The third arm is the government. That is the state. The state is supposed to provide social amenities. Since 2010, International Labour Organization has said The solution to child labor, for example, is social protection, provision of social amenities. Then you have the international community, which is supposed to uphold global standard when it comes to dealing with children. But what do we have in Africa? What do we have in Nigeria? The community is comatose. The government is absent. Then the international community behaves according to interest. International community is not anybody's friend. So the only institution that is doing the job of 4 institutions is the family. So the distraction is too much. Let me tell you something. For example, my twin brother has 2 children, right? The first one is 13 years, who's going to become 14 in May 16. The second one is 7 years old. My twin brother is 51 years old. Now he's going to is in the middle class. He's in the middle class. So he's raising those children. The firstborn is 14. Is 13 now. He's in SS1. By the time that one now, my twin brother will be like 59. Now the 7-year-old is still there. So he's still going to raise that one also to the university level. By the time he finishes raising his children, he's already 65. His life has finished. He's at the departure land of life. The Nigerian parents are under extreme pressure. They are doing everything that government is supposed to do. So Nigerian children are not citizens of Nigeria. They are grand citizens. They are the citizens of their parents, because everything that their parents are supposed to do for them, that their government is supposed to do for them.
The parents are saddled to do it.
Doing it.
That are doing for them. So now this is where it ties up to your question. Where it ties up is the fact that, so when parents are supposed to be inculcating positive value system in their children, they are distracted by the economy, they are distracted by school fees, they are distracted by house rent, they are distracted by healthcare, they are distracted by all of these things. And so when you are raising children in Nigeria, you are sentenced to the prison of parenting. Prison. So you are just going to be there, living from hand to mouth. You pay school fees. You finish paying school fees, another school fees is coming, and public schools have disappeared. You finish paying rent, you are already saving for another one. You put money in cooperative, you go to Federal Mortgage Bank, you do all kinds of investment, everything targeted towards raising. And when you've now finished raising them, for them to get a job is a problem. A man was telling me, after raising all his children now, his daughter could not get a job. He still has to go back to cooperative and borrow 1 million naira to put the child there. So this is the issue. The issue is that in a country called Iceland, many years ago, I think 25 years ago, thereabout, they were dealing with the kind of issues we are dealing with in Nigeria. They were dealing with juvenile delinquency. They were dealing with young on drugs. They were dealing with a whole lot of issues. So the way they solve problem in those kind of countries is that they don't just suspend children, just rehabilitation. No. They began to ask the question, what is the root cause of this problem? Why are our children delinquent? Why are they going wayward? They found, in their research, that one major thing that stood out was that the children who were wayward were the children whose parents did not spend time with. The children who were doing well were the children that the parents spent time with, that the parents were able to inculcate positive value system. The children were distracted by economics, were not able to do what the other parents were doing. So what did the state do? The state of Iceland instituted a fund. Spend one more hour with your child, you get so amount. Spend 2 more hours with your child, you get so amount. In 5 years, the story changed. Because now, parents spending time with their children, which is supposed to be the primary responsibility of parents, now was incentivized. They put something on it to encourage parents, because they know these children are our citizens. They are our people. We cannot throw them away. If we don't raise them, we are digging our own grave as a nation. Today, go and check it. Iceland have one of the best behaved young people in the world.
Wow. Okay, so we are going to take Taiwo Akinlami, with you, we are always, we're always checking the time. All right, we'll take a very, very short break. When we return, I'm going to take Maury and Tammy's questions. Stay with us. We'll be right back.